Oh my god, I missed you guys. I have missed you guys so much. Thank you for everyone that watches my videos. Oh my god, you guys are awesome. Thank you if you've subscribed. Thank you if you've shared my videos. You guys are absolutely awesome. Oh my god, this weekend has been so eventful. Like, it's definitely a setup for, a story time. I'm gonna hit you with the story time about this weekend, yo. One day I'm gonna hit you out with the story time. But I hope you guys are having a great weekend. You know your girl had to come back with part two of my horrible experience in South Africa. So before I get into this part two of my experience in South Africa, if you missed out on part one, you're gonna want to go to part one to kind of get the drop of exactly how my first day in South Africa went. So basically, part two of my South Africa trip. Just as a just to give you a little bit of background. So I was in South Africa for a total of 5 days. Okay, and so on the first day I was actually arrested. Yeah, and now I'm about to jump into part two, right, of my experience with this horrible issue in South Africa, right? So I just want to say this first real quick. South Africa is a beautiful country. Right off the bat, I want you guys to know this. Your experience might not be the same as my experience. So, if you want to still, kind of go out and, I would never tell anyone to not visit some place just because someone else had a bad experience, right? I did this video basically just to kind of put a light on the issue. It is a huge issue in South Africa, so people gotta know about themselves. So if some South Africans are watching this, don't catch feelings just because your countrymen, one or two of your countrymen, gave your country a bad name. I love the country. I think it's beautiful. I think the people are beautiful. I love the culture. I love so much about South Africa. So this is definitely not to paint a negative light on the entire country. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but now that we have that out of the way, right? So let's go ahead and jump into part two. So this happened this particular day. So as I said, I was there for 5 days, right? So on this particular day, the group of people that I was with, that we had gone to South Africa with, decided to take one of those 16-seater mini taxis, like a minibus taxis that they have in Joburg. I don't know what we were going to do or where we were going. I can't really remember. But so this was a bright idea. Now, over the course of the 5 days that we were in South Africa, we had actually hired a driver, right? So we had a driver, but on this particular day, we decided to kind of go out on our own to do some sightseeing. So the 6 of us, or 7 of us, jump into, the minibus, mini taxi. And I happened to jump into the front side of the minibus. Now, if you've never taken these minibuses, what you need to know is that, like, it's a 16-seater, but then there's like that front section where the driver is sitting. So there's a driver, and then there's 2 seats for the passengers, and then the rest of the seats are behind, are in the back, right? So I actually got a seat right next to the driver. Right now, we have in Kenya the same type of minibuses, but there's one big distinction between Kenyan minibuses and the minibuses in Johannesburg. I don't know if it's still the same in Joburg, but in Joburg, apparently they don't have, the driver is the sole operator of the vehicle, right? So he doesn't have anyone in the back collecting money, right? So it's not like so everyone kind of just hands money over to somebody, and then they hand the money over to the driver, and they collect the change and stuff, and then they that person will volunteer. Basically, it's like a volunteer position. So the difference between that and in Kenya, in a minibus, you have the driver and you have the conductor. The conductor is the guy that actually collects the money and gives back the change and opens the door, and lets people in and out, right? So big difference between Kenyan taxis and Joburg taxis. So I didn't know this difference. I didn't know that this was and this is a huge difference, right? So I happened to sit right next to the driver. And little did I know that if you sit right next to the driver, it's kind of the unofficial position of collecting the money. You become the unofficial volunteer of collecting money and giving out change. So I'm sitting in the front, enjoying the view. We're driving along. It's a full house. So basically the whole taxi is full. And all of a sudden, people start tapping me on the shoulder and giving me their money. I'm like, what the hell are these people giving me money? Like, I don't even know what the denominations are. Remember, I've only been there now for like maybe a day or two, right? And so I don't even know how much they're supposed to pay. Like, I didn't even know. I just was surprised because people are just handing me their money. And then it dawned on me that I'm supposed to collect the money and give out the change. But your girl doesn't even know what a rand looks like. I have a rand. I don't know, like, how much they're supposed to pay. Like, oh my God. So it starts dawning on people that this person doesn't speak Zulu, doesn't speak the local language. They were speaking to me in their local dialect, and I could not understand what they were saying. So instantly the driver starts getting pissed off. I'm like, okay, why are these people mad at me, right? Like, I didn't know that this was like, I had volunteered for this position, right? So, so people are giving me their money, and then they're getting impatient. I mean, there's people shouting from the back. Like, people were just irate. Like, to me, it was like, okay, so evidently, I'm not from around there. So, I mean, you should know by now. First of all, I don't speak the local language. And I don't even know what the denominations are or how to give out change or like even like, you know what I'm saying? So you could, like, for me, if I was in that particular position, I'd be like, oh yeah, so this person must be a foreigner, let's help her out, or like, let someone else do this, right? I wouldn't have taken it to the extent that it went. Like, these people were so pissed off in the back. I'm sure I was getting all kinds of names called, like, and people were like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were so mad, and I was like, oh my God, like, I just got arrested, the night before. Now I'm getting cast out by damn near half the bus, right? Because I don't know how to I don't know how to, make change. I don't even know how much money they're supposed to get back. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I don't even understand what they're saying to me. You know what I'm saying? So luckily, so I was sitting in the front right next to the driver, and there was someone else right next to me. There was a lady right next to me, and I just basically handed her the money, and then she started giving, the money back, change and stuff, making change for people. So this particular situation now, I would say, like, if it was anywhere else in the world, I would say, okay, this is understandable. People are upset because, maybe they, I should know that, it's implicitly, like, I should know that if I sit there, I volunteered to, give change or whatever. So, like, if it was a different country and people got upset at me, I would say, okay, they're just mad because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing, right? But because it's South Africa, first of all, the level of upsettedness that those people were having, and then the fact that I wasn't able to understand what they were saying, and just the whole vibe gave me like xenophobic like vibes. So that's why I felt like even like double like like I was like like doubly it just gave me really 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 bad vibes. Like after that I was like so ready. I was so ready, and I'm telling you, I was so super excited to go to South Africa, y'all. Like I was so excited. It was my first time out there. But by the end of those 5 days, I was like, thank God I get to leave. You know what I'm saying? And I've never felt like, currently I've been to more than 30 countries around the world. I've been all up and down Europe. I've been up and down North America. I've been to Australia. I've been to lots of different places. And to be honest with you, I have never experienced as much xenophobia as in these white countries, in predominantly white countries. That's where pretty much most of my life has been lived in predominantly white countries, and most of the places I've visited in the world have been in predominantly white countries, and I've never experienced as much xenophobia in those countries as I did in South Africa by Black people. You know what I'm saying? Like it was just one thing after the other, after the other, after the other, and I was like, and the funny thing is, when we went we went to Sandton, we went to Ramfontein, we went to lots of different places where there were like more multi-ethnic neighborhoods. So I would say like maybe white people, Indians, and stuff like that. And those people were really nice. Like the white people, I never had a single negative encounter with anyone white in South Africa. Not a single one, right? But every time I interacted with like a local person, like let me not say every time, but a lot of these specific instances where I interacted with local people, like Black people, people like me, people who look like me, people who for me, I consider them family, because like I don't see myself as separate from, like if I see a Black person, I don't see myself as I just see us as like one like global community, like a global family, like whether or not you're in Brazil, whether you're like an African American, whether or not you're in the Caribbean, like if you're Black, to me, I'm like, okay, yeah, you're family, right? So you can imagine my shock and awe at the fact that someone else that looks exactly like me would treat me like shit. Just for the mere fact that I was, from somewhere else. So, so this experience was actually really, really, I don't know, I just felt like traumatized. I was so grateful that we never had to use public transportation again while we were there, right? But, so I want to end this rather depressing two series of videos on South Africa with something like a positive about South Africa. I also had, while I was in South Africa, I had an amazing time, number one. And then number two, I got the chance to eat like real home cooked South African food, homegrown, like soul food, South African style, right? Because our driver, who's actually South African, invited us to his home, and the wife made us the best food that I ate during the whole 5 days I was in South Africa was that meal. It was like a home cooked meal. That woman had this type of, I don't know what you call that, it was like a pumpkin, like a sweet pumpkin something. It was sweet, and I'm not a person that likes pumpkin, but that pumpkin was like, I can literally eat that for the rest of my life until the day I die. Like, it was that freaking awesome. So I just want to point that out, because I don't want people to think that, I'm saying that everyone in South Africa has these kind of xenophobic ideas, of xenophobic issues, right? There are really, really decent people there. They're awesome people, and you probably have great experiences, particularly if you're from the diaspora. I feel like if you're like an African American or like a Jamaican American or from somewhere else that's not Africa, and you interact with the Black South Africans, you'll probably have a different experience than someone from like Zimbabwe or Kenya or Nigeria would have when they went to when you go to South Africa. So your experience is definitely going to be different, because I feel like they like y'all. I don't know what we did to them, but they like y'all, you know. So I don't think it's like a universal, like the xenophobia in South Africa is not like universally directed at all Black people per se. So it's just like the Black people from Africa, I feel. So, you know, I mean, you can take it how you want to take it. That's my opinion, and that's, you know, that's been my experience. So yeah, so that's I think I'm not gonna do any more South Africa videos on xenophobia. I just wanted to kind of give those two particular examples. I do have a few things I could say, a few additional things I could say, but I like to keep my channel light-hearted, and I don't really want to go too deep into like a lot of these heavier conversations. So I hope you enjoyed my storytelling, right? And I hope that you hit subscribe, like and share this video. I'll see you next time. Ta-da!